Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Is in damage control mode right now. And the reason that these guys are scrambling as a network is because for the last few days, Stephen A. Smith has been up on TV talking about, oh, man, the Lakers need to make sure they sign LeBron James, man. They need to make sure they sign LeBron James, man, because, you know, they're not winning nothing with LeBron. Like I said, it's like, yo, dog, prior to this playoffs, LeBron's playoff record with the Lakers was 2-14 over the last 14, 2-12 over the last 14 playoff games. 2-12. But they were trying to make it seem like these guys were going to the finals every single year. No, it's been a disaster now. For quite some time with him on the roster. But then, of course, the news came out that Austin Reeves was extended by the Lakers for a 4-year, $185 million contract. And that's when the writing started to show up on the wall. Okay, yeah, maybe this franchise is moving on. So today, during an episode on First Take, it was Stephen A. Smith, I think Vince Goodell, and Kendrick Perkins. And they started panicking on the set. Oh my God! Why didn't they focus on LeBron? Even Stephen A. Even Kendrick Perkins. Why the Lakers got it wrong? They should have prioritized LeBron James before they prioritized Austin Reeves. And they just going into damage control mode, because a lot of these people were the same people talking about there was this big market out there for the guy. Like there were so many teams that were lining up to sign him. And then yesterday, Brian Windhorst dropped the truth bomb on him, where he essentially said that, look, no team is interested in signing for LeBron. I'm sorry to break it to you. There are no teams. So what we want to do now is want to play what they had to say, take a listen to it, and I'm going to come back and continue on the show.
Lakers signed Austin Reeves to a 4-year, $185 million max contract to keep him in LA and restrict him from becoming a free agent. So AR will stay in LA with Luka. But as for LeBron James, who is an unrestricted free agent, Shams Charania says there's been not much movement. Listen to this.
My understanding is there hasn't been an offer out to LeBron James yet as far as his free agency. We'll see how that develops over the next 4 or 5 days when free agency starts. But a lot of it is like, how much can we upgrade the roster and then potentially go back to LeBron? Or do you take care of LeBron first and then figure out any type of potential roster move?
All right, so no offer yet for LeBron James. Stephen A., is it at all concerning that the Lakers have yet to offer LeBron when they've already taken care of Austin Reeves?
Not at all. Not at all. The priority was to make sure you took care of Austin Reeves because he's got value around the league because of his youth. And as a result of that, you can sign him and deal with other stuff later. You still got Rui Hachimura, you got Luke Kennard, you got Jackson Hayes, you got these people along with LeBron James. You can exercise bird rights and keep those guys. You know that, so that's a reality. But most importantly, here's the thing that's not being said. LeBron James has graduated to a point in the NBA in his career where he could essentially choose where he wants to go for the most part. Like if LeBron James, it's a money issue where we're concerned in terms of us talking about how the Lakers ain't gonna give him $52 million and all of this other stuff. I got that part. But if LeBron James, money aside, sat up there and said, I want to be on your basketball team, who's telling him no? Anybody telling him no? I mean, you might have 1 or 2 teams that might say no, but for the most part, 95% of the league is going to be like, hell yeah, let's make this happen, especially if money is not a factor. With him, it could be respect. He understands the business of the NBA, but he's graduated to that point where essentially he can dictate what he wants to do. If he wants to stay in LA, they ain't telling him to go home. If he wants to depart and say, I want to go back to Cleveland, they ain't telling him no. If he called Pat Riley and said, listen, I want to come back and join Giannis and Bam in L.A., you think Riley's going to tell him no? He ain't going to tell him no. So that's what we have to understand. It's not really concerning to me because it's LeBron, and that is his reality. A reality, by the way, that he has earned.
Vinny?
I'm a little concerned because normally it's 2 things. A, this is a relationship business. This is a respect business. And when you are LeBron James, think of all the times that LeBron has been an unrestricted free agent at any point in his career. Not only was he his incumbent team top priority, he was the league's top priority. This is the first time where he's not even the top priority on his own team. I wonder how that makes him feel. Now, if the Lakers have come to LeBron and said, LeBron, we're going to take care of Austin Reeves first, and then we're going to go and try to make these other moves, and then we're going to present to you a roster and tell you how much money we have left, that's one thing. But if you haven't had any contact with them, if you haven't said this is our plan and then we're going to come back to you, it sounds like you're a plan B. And if I'm LeBron James and Rich Paul and we know how they move in terms of leverage, they move in terms of power, this probably doesn't make them feel very good. If you talk to an agent of an incumbent team and you have this window after the NBA Finals and before June 30th where you can talk to your own free agents, where you can agree to your own deals, look around the league, y'all. Nobody hits free agency anymore. Free agency comes in the form of you being traded or you signing your contract before you even hit June 30th. None of those things have happened. I'm not saying that the Lakers don't consider LeBron James a priority. I'm not saying that these two sides aren't going to come to an agreement, but I'm not going to pretend that this is a positive sign or this is a sign of a partnership, because when you have LeBron James, you are in partnership with LeBron James. 40 years old, 25 years old, you are in partnership until he says otherwise. This is a change in the paradigm.
Yeah. Perk?
The Lakers are dead bird tall grass, straight up. And I never want to come on here because I'm always a big person that's going to advocate for guys getting their money. But the Lakers just showed us that their two franchise guys that they believe in is Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. And I'm going to say this again. They can't be thinking championships, because you can't have both of your franchise guys be defensive liabilities. And that's what Luka is, and that's what Austin Reeves is. Let's keep it a buck. LeBron James should have been prioritized before Austin Reeves. LeBron James is the second most important player that was on that Laker roster behind Luka Doncic. And if I'm Braun, I definitely feel some type of way. But if I'm Braun, I'm also sitting back and I'm saying, okay, Rob, okay, front office, what else are y'all going to do? Because Luka said, he has come out publicly, or the reports have come out, that he wants a A-list center. Well, what A-list center is out there, right? What A-list center are you going to get? You're not going to go get a Jalen Duren, excuse me. Who else is out there? You're going to go get a Karl Anthony Towns? You can't get him. So my thing is, the reason that Luka wants an A-list center is because his offensive package, meaning lob threat at the basket. But secondly, he's trying to get an A-list center to cover up for what they lack on perimeter defense. This is a problem.
All right, fantastic. So you heard what they had to say. Look, guys, it's over. It's over. It's over. I don't know what else to tell you guys. It's over. The movie's over. The show's over. The Lakers are moving on, and they should. I was saying, and you guys know it, you guys that watch the channel, I was saying that Luka Doncic doesn't seem like a serious person, because I just couldn't understand that Luka would be willing to play when his prime years with a 41, 42. They just didn't make it like that's who the Lakers are going to pair alongside with Luka Doncic. Like, it made no sense. But now it looks like I was wrong, that this guy was a smooth operator working behind the scenes, because now you could tell that the Lakers are doing everything that they can to maximize on what they have with Luka at the centerpiece. And with Reeves, if things don't work out, he has a 4-year contract. You can always trade him. And it would be a great chip to trade in the future because he's young. He's like 27, 28 years old. That's the reason why you prioritize Reeves over LeBron. Derp. Why would you sign LeBron to a 2-year max deal when no one is going to be willing to, he can't even trade him in the future. You're just going to essentially giving him money. But with Reeves, you have some maneuverability, because if it doesn't work out, you want to make a move, you can move him. You could move him and get another piece. That's the wisdom of the move of getting Reeves now at a good price. That's why prioritizing it makes sense. So even if it doesn't work out, they can still move him. You still have wiggle room. But these guys are freaking out because they're telling people, oh, LeBron is so important to the Lakers. LeBron is so important to the Lakers. He's so important but the Lakers are publicly rejecting him. We did a show last night, which featured some comments from Shams, where he was like, the Lakers have not offered LeBron James a contract extension, and there's been zero communication. If it isn't more obvious than this, I don't know how much more obvious it needs to be. They didn't offer him an extension last year. So if they didn't offer him one last year, what's the likelihood of them offering him one this year? That was the indication that the franchise was ready to move on. That's what it meant. And last year he was an all-NBA player. So this year that he wasn't an all-NBA player and they just pretty much forced him on the all-star team, if they didn't offer him a contract then, why would they offer him one now when he's a year older? It makes no sense. So I don't even understand what these guys are talking about. They're clearly not looking at this thing from a basketball standpoint. And you're telling me that the Lakers can't use their money to get another player that'll be better. So you're saying the Lakers cannot win a championship if LeBron is not on the roster. That's what you're telling me? So what about all of these other teams that have been winning championships and LeBron is not on their roster? Come on, like, what are we talking about here? It's over. The jig is up. Like, it's over. All of that twerking y'all doing is not mattering. In reality, it's not mattering. It's just y'all on TV talking. And then in the real world, people are making real decisions. What y'all are saying is having no effect, apparently. You know, it's interesting how things are developing right now. The reason I say that is because if you guys remember, about a month ago, Rich Paul was on the Pat McAfee show. And Pat McAfee asked Rich Paul, hey, how many teams do you think are currently interested, would you say, are interested in signing LeBron James? And at the time, Rich Paul on the Pat McAfee show said that there are about 12 teams, 10 to 12 teams that have expressed interest in signing LeBron James. That's what he said at the time. Then, after that, we heard from other people that, you know, LeBron and the Lakers and this and that and this and that. And LeBron fans were so convinced that LeBron was going to come back to the Lakers and they were going to offer him all this money and blah, 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 blah. But then something happened. Yesterday, Austin Reeves signed a max contract worth signed a max contract worth $185 million. And that pretty much signaled that the Lakers were going to be doing what Luka Doncic wanted, because Luka wanted Reeves to remain on the team. And then something interesting happened. During a segment on ESPN First Take yesterday, Brian Windhorst said that there are no teams in the NBA that are interested in acquiring LeBron James. So what we want to do now is want to play the video for you guys. Take a listen to what Windhorst had to say. And then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to Brian Windhorst here.
Stephen A. has taught me a lot about leverage over the years, and this is a discussion about leverage. Austin Reeves, from what I understand, 2 days ago, was somewhere around $30 million a year in his offer from the Lakers. It's a very good contract. It's a far cry from what they offered him yesterday. They offered him yesterday, and what he agreed to was more than $45 million a year. It's a 50% increase in like 24 hours. That's why Austin Reeves was falling down on the golf course yesterday.
I saw the picture.
Because he got his contract offer up 50%. Why? Leverage. Because the Detroit Pistons were lining it up. We saw last night that they made a trade to move off Isaiah Stewart. That cleared salary cap space. Coming, he had leverage. Now let's talk about LeBron James' leverage. Who is coming to offer LeBron James a big contract? Nobody. There's a bunch of teams that want him. The Lakers essentially are bidding against themselves. So they have to make a decision. And this decision they've been known coming is for a while. As Shams said, what is the Lakers' next order of business? First order, get Austin done. Check. Which direction are they going? Will they go to LeBron James and get his contract done first and say, LeBron, we want to take care of you. You are one of the top free agents. We're going to pay you what we pay you. Our salary cap numbers be damned. We'll figure out how to do a trade later on. We're going to do that. Or will they go out and prioritize using the salary cap space, sign or acquire guys via trade first, and then come to LeBron James and say, this is what we got left? It's a tough question. It's a really tough question, because if the Lakers re-sign LeBron James and Austin Reeves, they've signed two of the top 5 free agents on the market. That's not a question. That's absolutely happening. But these are the same guys you had on the team. You haven't improved your roster. And so this is really, really difficult. And frankly, you need LeBron James to be a partner here. That's something we're going to watch play out in the coming days.
So you heard what Wendy had to say there. What are my thoughts about this? Could it be that all of these people, Wendy, Dave McMenamin, and all of these guys, have just been making up stories here? The fact of the matter is this, and LeBron fans need to come to terms with it. No one in the NBA, let me repeat, no one in the NBA is going to pay a 41, 42-year-old max dollars. It is not going to happen. I don't know when you guys are going to get that through your thick skulls. It's not going to occur. It's simply not. It would be basketball malpractice if they did that. No one is interested in doing that. No one. If you look at it from the standpoint of the Los Angeles Lakers franchise, they are in a unique position to create a title contending team for next year. Originally, it was for the summer of 2027. But given the fact that they now have all of this cap space flexibility and AR's contract has no effect on the cap, they can go out there and make some moves with the $50+ million that they have available. You can go get an A-list center. You can make some things happen with signs and trades and all. You can actually get younger, get more athletic on the wing, and actually come back with a team that you can surround Luka with. If I'm the Lakers, I'm not paying LeBron anything more than a veteran minimum. Whatever that number is. Some people say it's $3 million, $7 million. Whatever that number is, that's what I would do. And if LeBron fans feel like LeBron is worth it and he deserves those max dollars, then to them I say this. Let another team present an offer sheet, offer him max dollars, then the Lakers should match it. That's how Reeves got his contract. Lakers signed him quickly because they knew Detroit was going to offer him the money. So if you guys feel like he's worth it, let the market say so. But this is a sharp 180 turn from what Windhorst and these guys were saying before. From what Rich Paul said, there are 10, 12 teams. Where are these teams? And even if they are interested in him, at what number? At what number? So all of this now boils down to LeBron's willingness to play to win or to play for money. You can't do both. Not at 41, 42. And that is essentially what the NBA is saying. That's what Brian Windhorst just said. That's the reality. This is where we are right now. If you guys know, I'm not a fan of Malika Andrews, and we're certainly not fans of Malika Andrews on this channel. And it really dates all the way back to the Ime Udoka scandal from a few years ago. As you guys remember, when that scandal initially broke, a lot of people were jumping to conclusions. And one of those people was Malika Andrews, to the point where she made an absolute ass of herself on ESPN First Take, and Stephen A. Smith essentially had to check her on live here because she went on Stephen A. Smith's show essentially trying to say that you're not going to make this about women and all of this when we didn't even have the details. A lot of people were talking about Ime Udoka was in a position of power. How could we have known he was in a power position when we didn't even know who the person was at the time? But that's the assumption that the public was willing to make. And a lot of men fell suit because a lot of men like to pander. Oh, you shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. Was it stupid for him to do what he did? It worked? Yes. But it was between two consenting adults at the end of the day. But Malika was trying to make it look like it was just him. Similar thing that Sage Steele, they're the same thing. And Malika Andrews is a feminist. There's no question about it. And she has selective outrage. Whenever it's a black athlete, she has a lot to say. She's always the front on the front. And she's been roasted and called out for this for years now. Even going back to the Charlotte Hornets player, Brandon Miller, during his draft night. Then after they tried to, after the Celtics decided they were going to suspend him, or and ultimately fire him, I believe, they were now going off to thinking of signing Joe Mazzulla. Then she went on air and started pulling up his old dirty. I'm like, what is this? Who sent you? So we all know that, but when it came time for the Josh Giddey thing, she was quiet as a church mouse. And essentially ESPN had to force her to say something because of her reputation. Like, we all know this. This is Malika Andrews. And this is why most of us don't like her. So what happened? Just the other night, there was the NBA draft, right? And you had a lot of these young men who were seen their dreams come true, going to the NBA. And a lot of them were with their families crying and excited and all of that. But Malika Andrews went out of her way on multiple occasions to do everything but mention the fathers that were in attendance. She essentially made the entire thing about what the mothers did. And let me say this. Mothers are important and they play a significant role in a child's life, but so does the father. But if you listen to Malika Andrews, you would have thought that these children were just born with one, like they didn't even have other parents there. You would have thought that they had deadbeat dads. Meanwhile, the fathers were in attendance and she didn't even have one mumbling word to mention about them. And the internet dragged her for it. So what we want to do is we're going to play these videos back to back. The second video is going to be of Carlos Boozer's son. And then we're going to come back and react to the comments. Take a look at the footage here.
Yaxel credits his mother, Giselle, with saving his life when he was struggling in high school. And he told me that when he walks across the stage, he wants people to know that there were so many times, he said, that it was hard for me to believe in myself and he was close to giving up. And this woman, Giselle, it was his mom, who used to call him every single draft night and ask him, are you watching? Because someday this could be you and someday this could be us. And Yaxel found out that his mom had appendix cancer last fall, and she's still in that fight. But he told me that this moment is for her. You can see that here. A tremendous story, Jay, and a tremendous player.
And NCAA champion, you see him there, Carlos Boozer. But it was his mom, Cameron told me, who drove him to every single practice, every tournament, helped him find all of his trainers. He, of course, played with his twin brother, Caden, at Duke as well. And this quote...
Fantastic. So you saw that. I just want to go through some of the comments. We don't have to put it up. I'll just go through some of the comments here. One person said, as a woman, I do not like this take. Carlos Boozer was a beast. He deserves credit for instilling the love of the game to all his sons. I'm for all moms, but when your pops literally played in the NBA, you gotta give him his flowers. Another person says she's not good enough at sportscasting to be the lead voice on an NBA draft. I'm not saying she's awful, but she's just not that good. Kind of boring voice, blah, 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 blah. Another person is saying, so he plays basketball because of his mom, even though his dad is a former NBA player. What a effing joke this network is. Another guy says, as a man, I feel like I need to tell you that this sounds like you're an incel. And it just goes on and on and on. People are just roasting. Here's my take on this, right? Malika Andrews is a feminist. And there's nothing wrong with supporting women and all of that. Certainly women need to be supported. And I'm 100% behind that. But it shouldn't be done at the expense of men. And we all know a lot of the stigmas that exist in the world out there where they say black fathers are absent, they don't do anything. We just watched Jalen Brunson, who's black, win a title, and his father was standing right there with him. His father was standing right there with it kills that talking point. But for Malika to go out of her way to not even mention Carlos Boozer, she didn't even mention him. So the fact that Carlos Boozer played in the NBA, he clearly benefited from his father's genetics, clearly. You don't think the father played any role? I had to do some research before doing this show. I even saw videos and pictures of Carlos Boozer at his son's games, cheering for him. She didn't even mention the father. I'm not saying mention the father alone and omit the mother. Mention his parents if both people are in attendance. They're both in their children's lives. Mention it. But she did that on purpose because that's who she is. That is who Malika Andrews is, and no one should be surprised why a lot of people are not fans of hers. I'm certainly not a fan of her at all because I believe she has selective outrage. I believe when it's time to go after black athletes, she's the first one in line. The first one. She's the first one to say something. But then when there's another athlete, she has nothing to say. She has absolutely nothing to say. Nothing. You're supposed to be protecting women. I mean, protecting everybody. I don't see it. I just see you only singling out black athletes, and it doesn't sit well with me. But this is the reputation that she's developed. This is the reputation. If you saw the way that she was speaking to Stephen A. Smith, this is not the first time she's done it. She even did it to Kendrick Perkins doing that Ime Udoka thing. No, not Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick Perkins, she just cut him off. Matt Barnes tried to get a word in. She cut him off. By simply bringing up the woman that was that agreed to the consensual sex, you're trying to make it about women. But it's okay to talk, and this is what ESPN promotes. Because I remember the time when Jalen Rose was on the network, and he said, but wait a minute. Why is it okay to talk about Ime, but you can't mention the woman? Do you know what happened? The next commercial break, Jalen Rose had to read an apology on air. He had to read an apology. And many of us were like, wait a minute, this guy was able to go through this case during one commercial break? He was able to figure this out in one commercial break? He had to apologize on live air. Because on ESPN, it's open season. Why do you think Stephen A. Smith has the green light to constantly go after Jaylen Brown? That's what they do over there, then. That's their work. And Malika Andrews is one of the people that propagates this. This is why no one likes her. Sorry to break it to you, most men don't like Malika Andrews. They don't. For things like this. Even when she did the Brandon Miller thing at the draft, even white content creators, white male content creators were calling her out for that. White ones, not even black, even white guys were like, what is this? Like, what is this? What do you have against men? You're a sportscaster or whatever it is, but you don't like men. What? Like, how does it work? How does it work? I don't get it.